Hello and welcome again to the Wrestling Group YouTube channel. Today we will be ranking the top 5 tag teams in TNA/Impact history. So I announced this the other day because over the years TNA and Impact, well, it's the same company, so I'll probably end up switching between what I call it, but TNA have had some fantastic tag teams. They've had a really strong tag division from the early years onwards. And and I just thought the best thing to do would be to rank them from 1 to 5. Now, the problem is that it wasn't until I then started looking into it after they announced it. I keep doing this. I've done top 5. And really, I should have really done at least the top 10. There's so many big teams that just obviously don't make the cut because there's only 5. But I done top 5 in my last video, which was the Jay White one, for the main reason to try and keep it lower than the 40-minute which I'd done with me Undertaker, which didn't end up happening. So, but yeah, so I've gone with top 5 again to try and keep it a little bit shorter for you, which will hopefully be better than every video being over 40 minutes. But I do say that with a smile on my face because last time that was my idea and it didn't happen. It was when I start gabbing, I can't stop. So with TNA. I've watched wrestling forever, like as long as I can remember. Like loads of people can remember the exact point they started watching wrestling and what age they were and stuff like that. But I honestly can't remember. I can pinpoint it as around maybe 7, 8, 9 even. But I can't tell you exactly what year and what was the first match I seen and what was the first pay-per-view I seen. Like a lot of people can't, I haven't a clue. That's probably what having 2 kids does to you, but there you go. But there was a period of time where WE for me got quite stale. So I started to look at other companies. Plus, when I used to go to my dad's, he had Sky Sports and sorry, he didn't have Sky Sports. He had Sky and some of the sports channels originally used to be free. So I used to watch Ring of Honor every week at my dad's, and that was normally followed by Impact as well. Replays through the previous week, but it was before it was going online and checking results and stuff for the smaller companies. So I always had an eye on TNA, and I did enjoy watching TNA and Ring of Honor in the early days. So like all AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels and stuff like that. But I started to then follow it a lot more when I started watching when I started being able to watch online, started finding streaming sites and the like, so I started to pay more attention. And then obviously, as it started to grow and grow, and they had that thing where at one point it was like what AEW is now, isn't it? So it's a great company. A lot of people give up on it, and I've given up on it a few times and then come back in and out depending. Obviously, started taking notes again because there's other wrestlers going over like Kenny Omega and likes of Jay White and stuff like that who have gone into the company. So you do obviously look at it to see what's going on at that moment in time. But anyway, so we've got, like I say, TNA have had a great tag division, and I'd arguably say it's especially for the last, I'd say from like 2003, 4 onwards, had a much better tag division than what WWE did. There was more of a reason to tune in and watch their tag division, should we say, rather than what WWE was putting on. So anyway, I'm going to go into it now with my top 5. Like I say, there's so many tag teams that I didn't realise that would have to miss out because it is only a top 5 and not a top 10. So maybe next time I'll do a top 10 and just not talk about each one as much as I have been doing. Only because it just makes it easier on myself. Like I say, top 5 doesn't give you much room for wiggle, does it? So we'll go straight into it now then. As I keep saying, we'll go straight into it, and nearly 5 minutes in, I haven't even said my first one. But number 5 is the Motor City Machine Guns. So they are 3-time TNA/Impact tag champions, the current Impact tag team champions. Always baffled me, to be fair, before they returned. What was it, last year, the year before? Always baffled me that they were only ever a one-time tag champ in their original run. They were only one time tag team champions in the company, which always baffled me, because they were in some fantastic matches over the years, and they were quite relevant to the tag division at a certain point for a good 3-4 year period. I know they split them up, and then obviously Chris Sabin went on to become TNA World Champion and that, but like, just the style and the adrenaline that they bring to matches, it's fast paced, but it's good, and the they just work so well together as a team, and it was exciting, especially in the earlier days of TNA. It was so exciting to watch that style of wrestling. So yeah, it always did confuse me why they were only a one-time tag champs, and I'm glad now that they've gone back over the last couple of years, that they've managed to add another 2 reigns, including this current one. Because I know, championship belts aren't everything. I get that. A lot of people say that about a lot of wrestlers, like certain wrestlers, like, don't need to be world champion because they're big enough on their own. But as wrestlers, you do want to be champions, of course you do, because that's what people remember the most, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you have a tag team and they're together 5 years and they win one tag team championship reign, then it's sort of like, well, what are you going to remember? You're going to remember the reign, aren't you? You're going to remember they're only a one-time tag team. On the flip side, though, you can have a team that's been together 2 years and has held the tag belt 10 times. It just means that they're just dropping it and stuff. So it is a bit of a thing with championships, but still, like, for the quality of the matches and the quality of the team, they deserve to have been the first time round more than just a one-time tag champs. So and they've had some fantastic matches over the years, especially, like, if you're going way back when, against Beer Money with the best of 5 series that they done in the tag belts. That was phenomenal. I haven't gone back and watched that. I do need to go, but I remember it from back in the day. I need to go back and re-watch them matches again, because they were superb. It starts with like a ladder match and a street fight, which Beer Money won back to back. I think the street fight was where they knocked them out with the beer bottles, if I remember. And then after that, they done the cage match, the Ultimate X match, excuse me, where Motor City Machine Guns obviously then won the 2. And then in the third match, it's funny because it's best of 5 series, and the final match was a 2 out of 3 falls. So effectively, they had more than the five matches, if you like. So which obviously Motor City Machine Guns then won. I think they were the tag champions when it happened, so they retained the belts. But it's just absolutely fantastic team. They were together in Ring of Honor as well. But I feel like they do get missed out off a few people's lists when they're talking about teams and stuff. And to be honest with you, like, they shouldn't be. They are a great team, and they were the team that I was looking at when I realised they've only got 5 spots, and then I started thinking of all these other teams. They were the team that I was sort of like, well, could I maybe take them out and put this? And I thought, no, because they are a fantastic team, and if you've not seen anything with the Motor City Machine Guns in, even in the current reign, they're doing quite good. They're not obviously the same team they were years ago, but they are a really good team, and they're still worth watching now. So yeah, and don't forget, they also had them matches with Generation Me, the Young Bucks. When they were in TNA, they were called Generation Me, weren't they? So they had the little storyline that they had going there with them when they were the tag champs. Something to do with them stealing the belts or something, I can't remember now. But yeah, they did face Generation Me as well. Just to add that in. So number 5 was Motor City Machine Guns. So we go to number 4, which is America's Most Wanted. Now again, this is a team that is probably one of them, you either like them or you don't like them. They were really early doors in TNA, so a lot of people don't remember them as such. Or come into TNA Impact later. So do you think, when you think of James Storm, a lot of people do think of obviously Beer Money, which is fine, because Beer Money are a great tag team too. But America's Most Wanted with the team that obviously one of the main teams at the very beginning. And one of the main reasons I was tuning in every week when I was going to my dad's, and I kept putting on TNA. It was obviously for the likes of your Styles, your Daniels, your Samoa Joes and stuff like that, but also like the tag teams that they had at the beginning were great, and it was worth tuning in for the teams. Like if they announced, say, America's Most Wanted versus, I don't know, like LAX, then I'm going to tune in and I'm going to start watching, even just based on that match, that one match, because you know the teams then were brilliant. America's Most Wanted was so cool as well, you know, when they come out with the hats, and they were just such a good team. You know, the tag team of the year in 2005 through the Wrestling Observer, I think, and TNA done their own awards and give them in like 2003 and 2004, you know, but they deserved them. They had some great matches with Triple X, who unfortunately just missed out. That's one of the teams that I did have to leave off, only because I think Motor Machine Guns are a better team than Triple X, but you know, Triple X will be in the top 10. You know, that steel cage match they had where he walks along the top and does the Hurricanrana, wasn't it, into the ring. You know, that's one of the most memorable moments. And America's Most Wanted, you know, were a fantastic part, like say, of the early goings in TNA. And obviously that match was brilliant, and like I say, unfortunately Triple X just missed out. But America's Most Wanted, I couldn't leave them out. Like say, early going, they were a draw to the company for me. They were an attraction that I would tune in to watch them versus whatever team you put them against. It didn't have to be necessarily a proper tag team. Even if they just put them against two jobbers, I'm not forwarding it, I'm not skipping it, I'm not going away and making a cup of tea and going back. Like, I'm still watching it. It's one of them. Like, there's few teams in the world and in any generation where I'm going to sit there and watch just because they're on. And you know, Impact are doing well at the moment with the teams, and you know, AEW is doing well with the teams and stuff, but even still there's only a few where I'll go, oh, I'll watch that just because they're attached to the program. And obviously the America's Most Wanted were that for me at the time, and was a reason why I was keep coming back in. So that's why they make the top 5 list. Great team, 6-time NWA Tag Team Champions, and really good solid teams. Another team, if you haven't looked at, give them a look, especially that steel cage match was brilliant. So that brings us to number 3. Now, I've gone for a little bit of a cop-out with this, because it is top 5, so it's 5 teams, but technically this next team is they both went under the same name. They both had the same name, same gimmick style. You know, of course, by now you know I'm talking about LAX. And the main reason why I've copped out and picked both versions is because I can't separate them. I know a lot of people prefer the OGs because, you know, they were there first and they done it first, and then a lot of people prefer the newer version, Santana and Ortiz, because, you know, a lot of people didn't watch the original version. Not everyone's watched every year of wrestling, you know what I mean? So some people didn't come into it until later, and then only then did they see LAX, and LAX to them, obviously, then was Santana and Ortiz, not Homicide and Hernandez. So I have gone for cop-outs because of them. I don't want to pick between the two. And I looked at it and I did try to, because I thought, you know what, I should really pick between them. But then I was looking at it, and you know, like, again, like you said, early doors, TNA's tag division was brilliant. And Homicide and Hernandez were a part of that. And then later on, you know, even you started getting the influx of the old WE teams then, didn't you? You got the Hardy Boys come in, and you know, they done well in TNA, and obviously still an attraction. They had the first run, which I think they were tag champs once, and then the second run, you know, when they were doing the Broken Hardys gimmick, you know, they had all eyes on them, you know, because it was like the most talked about gimmick at the time, wasn't it? So again, it put eyes back on the tag division. So, you know, the likes of Hardys again only just missed out, but for the mainstay, like what I was saying was, obviously you've got the originals for some people, but then you got the later ones, and I think the fact that Santana and Ortiz were able to to stand out at a later point after you had the influx of your WE teams with your Hardys and your Team 3D and stuff like that. I know they were before, but what I'm saying is, like, the reason there was eyes on the tag division is because these were already made teams. These were already would bring in eyes to the company. But for Santana and Ortiz to come into the tag division at a time where it maybe lost its way a little bit, if I remember right, quote me on it, call me out, it's fine. But like, and then people that weren't really watching Impact were starting to get, oh, you know, LAX. Oh, what, LAX? They haven't been around forever. And you know, people start watching, and then they went into and they done that storyline, didn't they, with LAX, and it was the OGs versus the News, and it was really good. It's surprising, like, actually how good that storyline was, and they had some good matches considering, you know, the years difference and stuff. But like, that storyline, like I say, it was done really well, because it could have been terrible. Like, we've seen it before where we've had stuff like that, where we've had like old teams versus new teams and stuff like that, and we've had like newer versions face older versions and stuff, and it hasn't really worked out the way it should have. But for me, that was a really good one. You know, so you got, like, obviously the original OGs. They were one-time NWA tag team champions, two-time TNA tag team champions, and then Santana and Ortiz, they held the Impact tag belts. I think it was 4 times in the end. And you know, it shows how good Santana and Ortiz were as well, was when they debuted in AEW after leaving Impact. You know, that was a massive deal. Like, AEW have been criticised to hell because they have not used Santana and Ortiz to the potential they should have, and I agree. Like, I do love watching AEW, but I agree, like, there's no way they shouldn't have been AEW tag champs by now. You know, so like I said, I did bottle out a bit with this one. I've picked both, but that's because I enjoyed them both the same. Like, I mean, can you really pick between the two when you've got an original team who obviously were one of the early starts of the company, starting the tag divisions and stuff with the likes of America's Most Wanted, and they, again, like them at a draw to bring you in. Oh, LAX are facing such a team, sound, I'll watch it. But then at the same time, like, when they then done the new version, maybe not as early into their run, but when they started to build it up, especially towards the end, like, they were one of the hottest teams going. They faced like the Lucha Brothers and stuff like that, but they were one of the hottest teams in the world. So like I say, it does show how good they were for when they did debut in AEW. You know, everyone knew who they were, and there was such a buzz around it, especially the way they done the debut. And sorry about that, a little bit of stutter. You know, the way they did it, you know, it was brilliant. But because they were so high up the card in Impact, because they were such a well-respected team, a well-liked team, everyone loved them. Like, they could, as a tag team, they could main event. They can main event Impact. They can main event pay-per-views. You know, they were that good. And then they go over to AEW and there's that buzz, but that shows how well they were booked and how well they were used and how hard they worked in the previous company for people to actually care about them. Then when they went to a new company, so it is a bit of a cop out, I'll admit. Call me out on it in the comments, that's fine. If you want to pick yourself in the comments, like a lot of people obviously will have their own versions of the top 5 TNA Impact tag teams, and if you want to split them, that's fine. For me, I feel like they both should be in the top 5, but I also feel like that they both couldn't be in this top 5 because I couldn't take another team out. So yeah, it is a bit of a cop out, but what are you gonna do? They were both technically LAX, weren't they? I mean, if you go online, you search TNA LAX, it'll come up with both versions. So technically, I got away with that. Well, anyway, because it's my video. Anyway, so that's number 3. So then we move on to number 2 with the American Wolves, or the Wolves as they were known. 5-time TNA champions, a fantastic team. Like Eddie Edwards, Davey Richards, brilliant. Even now they've done the odd independent show, haven't they, in the last 2 years or so, where they've teamed again. And they're a draw. They are such a draw. Like, they are a fantastic team. And like I say, 5-time tag champions, they were used really well. They were used really well, but they were massively popular. Like, they were absolutely massively popular. So it gave them a reason. Like, them being 5-time tag team champions isn't just because, like with like, I don't want to crap on another company, but like with WE, there's tag teams that have been like champions 7, 8, 9 times. That's only because there's been 2, 3 teams at the top. But at this stage, when the Wolves were hot, after Ring of Honor and they come to TNA, they were massively hot, and they would, like, the matches were brilliant. Should they deserve? They had the 5 belts or 5 reigns deservedly. You know what I mean? They done really well. Yeah, some great matches with the Bromans, if you remember the Bromans, the Hardys, the Revolution, Beer Money Inc. They had so many good matches throughout the years that they were a team together. And Eddie's gone on to do some fantastic stuff in TNA. He's been a world champion and stuff, and Davey's doing stuff. I think he's with MLW at the moment. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I can't remember. I'm sure I've just lost to John Hennigan in MLW, which is John Morrison or Johnny Nitro or Johnny Impact or Johnny Please insert name below. But yeah, like the Wolves again. Like, I got all them on this. I keep saying it per team, but literally all them on this list that I've done are name draws. Like, if you put the Wolves, like if you brought them back now as a full-fledged team in Impact and put the Wolves against, I don't know, any random 2 jobbers, everyone is watching that match. Like, the Wolves are such a massive, one of the most popular tag teams, not just in TNA Impact, but I'd say in the world. They're a fantastic team. Again, another 2 that could just do everything together. They feed off each other, and some brilliant matches. Even like to the stuff that they were winning, like when they were doing the fair part and they had them fair jack things, it was just great. And they coming out, and the music, they've always had good entrance music. I just can't say enough. Like, the Wolves are a fantastic tag team, and if you haven't seen any of the Wolves matches, go and check them out, especially against the likes of, like, say, Beer Money and the Hardys and Machine Guns and all the other teams that they've faced. But definitely a team to check out. And they come in at number 2. And to be honest with you, this was like, I've got teams here. Like, all 5 of these had to be in. But it was hard when I was trying to then work out which order they'd go in. Wolves, I'd say the second, mainly because they literally just miss out to me number 1, like literally by that much. It's not like, oh, these are up top, then these, oh yeah, they're second, then third, then fourth and fifth. Like, it is literally in between each and every space is like that much. It's not a lot in it. So that brings me to Numero uno, and you guessed it. I mean, how could it not be Beer Money? Beer Money! Beer Money Inc. are fantastic. Like, there's still people now that call for Beer Money to be back together. There's still people now, take your hand off if you said WWE were going to sign James Storm and they were going to stick them together as Beer Money. Yeah, it wouldn't have the same effect in WWE, but I mean, like, that's how big they are. Like, even now in 2023, people want to see Beer Money back together. Or flip side, like if WWE released Rude, then everyone just wants to see Beer Money back together. Like, it wasn't like a fantastic tag team. The gimmick was brilliant. Even when he was coming out riding on that the beer cooler, just drink a beer. It was similar to America's Most Wanted, obviously in some respects, but a lot more, I don't know, like exaggerated, if you like. A lot more fun, creative. Had some fantastic matches with pretty much every team on this list, apart from obviously America's Most Wanted, because James Storm was in both teams. But they had great matches with Machine Guns. They had great matches with LAX. They had great matches with the Wolves. The PWI Tag Team of the Year in 2008, PWI Tag Team of the Year in 2011. They were having Match of the Years. Such a fun team. Like, and again, around the time where tag team wrestling is sort of like was failing a bit. We had TNA that were putting on bangers, and you know that is one thing is if a company can focus on the tag division as much as TNA did back in the day. Even like they're doing all right now. They have got some decent teams. Like the last pay per view they had a couple of teams face each other, and they've had the likes of Myers and Cardona, Slater and Rhino. Machine Guns. They're back in there again now. So there is teams there that you'll watch and that, but like for a certain amount of time with the likes of most of these teams, they were all around the same time. And that tag division is one of the strongest tag divisions I'd say in the history of wrestling. I wouldn't just say in TNA's history, I'd say in the history of wrestling. Some fantastic teams, some fantastic matches. But they put the time and the effort in, and they worked on the tag division, and they wanted to make the tag teams count. Because there's been a thing obviously for years where if you go back, like WCW had some great tag teams at a certain point. WWF, WWE have great tag teams at certain points too. But like for a solid amount of time, like TNA, like for a 5, 6, 7 year period, TNA had I'd say the hottest and the best tag division in wrestling, which is the main reason why I wanted to start with tag teams. Because obviously I want to make sure that when I do these videos that I include other companies and I don't just stick to the one company like WWE. So obviously I have had people ask me to do rankings on certain things, and I will get around to it. I promise you I will get around to doing them, but I just don't want to bang out a WWE video after a WWE video after, and same with like an AEW video after an AEW after an AEW video, because there's more than just them companies. And TNA, it gets looked down on a lot, and I've done it myself in the past. I will admit I have been guilty to it as well. But there was a certain period in time where I didn't watch WWE at all, and I literally just watched TNA because the product for me was better at the time, and like the way they've always had respect for like the X division's a fantastic division. It always has been. The world heavyweight division for me has been up and down over the years. I'm not gonna lie on that. They haven't always had a great heavyweight division. Jeff Jarrett wins it, gives it to someone else. Oh, Jeff Jarrett wins it. Not as thing as that, but you know what I mean. But with the tag teams, like say with these 5 tag teams, like they are some of the best tag teams that has ever been in the history of wrestling, not just in the history of TNA, in the history of Impact. So we will count down. So number 5, we had the Motor City Machine Guns. At number 4, we had America's Most Wanted. Number 3, I had a cop out and didn't want to pick between, so I've gone for both versions of LAX as a joint. Number 2, we've gone with the Wolves, and number 1, it just had to be Beer Money. I mean, I think I pretty much when I went through and I was talking about the other teams, I think I pretty much said in each one, I had great matches with Beer Money. And even the fallout of Beer Money, I'll just say this last minute before I close this one down. At the end of Beer Money, the way they split them, and then that match, that street fight they had against each other is one of my all-time absolute favourite TNA matches. I absolutely love that match with them two in it. Such a good match. And again, they split a team when people didn't really want the team to split, and it's hard for companies when they do it, and they've been 5-time tag team champions. Where'd you go with them at that point? And they were pushing, they pushed Storm first, didn't they? And then they then pushed Rude, and Rude had a great world championship reign. Storm only had it for about a month, but they knew they were ready to go up because of the height of the popularity of the team, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But Beer Money, absolutely, if you put Beer Money back together now in 2023, you will sell tickets just on the fact that they are back together as a team. So as always, if you're still with me, thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for more rankings videos coming soon. Let me know in the comments, let me know what your top 5 teams are in TNA Impact. If you want to challenge me on any of mine, that's fine, do so. If you believe there should have been other teams involved, like Team 3D, or like Styles and Daniels, or the Hardys, or any different teams. There's been that many that are so good. Decay in TNA history. That, I mean, there is a chance. Like, really, it should have been a top 10, but I do want to keep this one underneath the 40-minute mark. So as always, thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for more rankings videos. Leave me some comments. Let's get this going. Let's have a good conversation about this one. And like I say, keep an eye out for the ones coming soon. And everyone who's watched my rankings video so far, especially the Jay White one, thank you so much. 117 views. It was on last seen this morning, which is a massive improvement. Again, thank you to David Anderson. I nearly forgot this. Thank you for David Anderson again for sorting me out with fantastic artwork. You know, we were talking about it, and he said he'd sort me out again, no problems. You know, the last one was brilliant, and this one's been brilliant. And you know, at first he was like, "Oh, so put tag teams on it," and I was like, "No, don't put any tag teams on it, because I don't want anyone to, one, think, oh, that's the list, I'm not going to watch it, I don't need to now, and number two, if I've put, like, say, Team 3D and the Hardys or someone on it and they're not on the list, I'm like, what are you doing?" So he's made me a great one with just each of the belts throughout the years, the NWA, the Impact and the TNA. So thanks again, David, for sorting me out with that, and thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for me. Next video is coming soon. Hit us a like, give us some comments, give us some feedback on the video, give me some feedback on my list. Let me know what your list is. Give me some suggestions for, I think I'm still going to do Ring of Honor and AEW, and is that it? Is that all I've got? I've done WE, I've done New Japan, I've done Impact. So yeah, Ring of Honor and AEW are going to be my next two videos. Any suggestions on them, let me know, or even NXT. And let me know in the comments, and I shall see you soon, and keep an eye out. And again, thank you for watching.